Brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
There's a lot that makes this team pretty good. And when we're hitting on all cylinders, that's when you're seeing the big wins. But the maturity, the talent, and some of that stuff was winning those close games and things like that. But there's a lot of things this team does really well, and so there's a lot to be proud of for them.
Disappointing to lose when you don't play very well and you don't feel like that you did things as well as you could have. And there's always regret that comes with that. You feel like you could have, should have done this, but at the end of the day, the game presents its challenges, and there were moments that we didn't handle those things very well. And
wasn't expecting to be done so early. I think right now I'm just so upset that we're not moving on. But the magnitude of my basketball career being over in college, it really hasn't, hit me yet.
It's Franklin who triggers the three. She hits it. And we are all tied up. 12 seconds to go in Los Angeles.
We had 8 guys on scholarship that were healthy there late, and injuries are part of the game, so that's not an excuse. But we could have done a much better job as a staff, putting more guys out there that we could play, and so that's something that I've thought about for a long time.
It's been like this in the Big 12 all year. Close games. We've been in a lot of close games, and we're very fortunate tonight to win. Texas A&M could have won that game, but only one team can advance.
That's a move I don't like. That is buying at the absolute top of the market, paying top dollar for a guy who's going to have trouble duplicating what he did last season, only because it was a career year.
This makes all the sense in the world for the Kansas City Chiefs. While cornerback is a premier position, of course, first and foremost, the team had to re-sign Chris Jones. And usually you're going to look at, okay, which position is more important, cornerback or defensive tackle? That's easy. It's the premier cover corner is always going to be more important than the defensive tackle, unless he's called Chris Jones.
And there you go. Sounds the past 24 hours. Welcome to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM, the talk of the town. Welcome to the Monday show, as we will try to digest an entire weekend of sports. Steve Webster with you. Mike Corson is in. Aaron Clark and Mike Hesher on the other side of the papers here today. Let's get started with our sounds the past 24 hours or so. Jeremy Combs, let's see, less than 2 hours away before tip-off at the Hutch Sports Arena. The Barton Cougars in action today. They will be taking on Walters State. Now, not to be confused with Wallace State. They're also in the tournament. They also won yesterday. Walters State, an 85-82 winner over Daytona State. So Cole Reif will have your call coming up here at, 2:15 on B104.3 The Point. National tournament underway. Cowley from the Jayhawk Conference winning their game yesterday, 87-64. So Cowley, they'll be in action at 5 o'clock today. They'll take on number 8 seed Northwest Florida State, who drew a first-round bye. Let's see, Panola over Jones College, 84-73. Trinity Valley beat Georgia Highland 61-54. Odessa 81. Trinidad State 52. And Wallace State, not Walters State, Wallace State beat Lee 76-64.
What I like about this tournament, you look at Kansas, we've got 3 Division I's, a few Division II's, and all the junior colleges. I don't think the NJCAA tournament is as watered down, so once you get past those play-ins where maybe a regional team got in, I think the competition is going to be pretty tough, and Cole said he watched Walters State, and they did, in fact, look pretty tough, so no easy games from here on out for sure.
Jeremy Combs talking about that Walters State was more like a Garden City team, then Daytona State was an up-and-down team. Well, they ended up getting up and down enough to put up 85 points. You just never know, man. You just go out there, it's like 2 boxers, or, coming in that don't know that much about each other. So you go out there and throw the ball out there and play ball, right? Okay, looking forward to that coming up. Okay, Jeff Mittie, head coach of the Kansas State women. They go down yesterday. They got beat by Colorado, 63-50. Colorado, the 5 seed. Kansas State's a 4 seed. Saying that, you hate to lose a game, especially when you don't play as well as you wanted to. That oftentimes comes down to who you're playing. It's kind of a weird game. I mean, it looks like Kansas State was going to get away from them, and then Colorado zipped right back. Gabby Gregory playing her final game, obviously emotional. K-State continues the trend of not being able to get out of that first round. They win the first game, and then a chance to move on to the Sweet 16. It doesn't get done yesterday.
And we heard Connor Nichols say last Friday that Taryn Sides from Phillipsburg is usually the sixth player off the bench. So she played in the first half, did not play poorly, didn't play much in the second half. So I threw it out there on Facebook, and several people, of course, we like the locals, but didn't understand why she wasn't playing when the rest of the kids couldn't score.
So Kansas State is done. Kansas moves on as they get a three-pointer in the game as Zakiya Franklin, 22 points, game-tying 3. K-State beats Michigan 81-72, and they will play top-ranked USC tonight in round 2 at 9 o'clock.
Another late one. I want to see the USC freshman, but obviously want KU to win that one. And there's also, another game before, so be a night of women's basketball.
Emily Ryan had quite a game last night in a losing effort.
Yeah, 36 points was a career high. Opened the game 3 of 3, so 9 points right off the bat. But the Audi Crooks was the big post, scored 40 points in the game before that on like 18 of 20 shooting. So let's go to her over and over again. She was 3 of 21 against Stanford's bigs down low, and they just kept punching it in, so kind of unfortunate.
Okay, we're down to the Sweet 16 on the men's side. Several conferences doing pretty well so far. The Big 12, 7-6 was the record. Big East, they had 3 teams. Their perfect 6-0 was all 3 teams that got in. The ACC not doing too bad either. They're 8-1. Let's see, SEC 5-6, Pac-12 6-3, Mountain West 4-5, West Coast 2-1, and the American Conference 0-2. Impressions from the weekend. Bill Self talking about KU that played a great game in the first half, but you just knew it was coming. It's been what we've seen all year. They play a game on Saturday, and then they come back on Big Monday, and they get blown out. They didn't have any gas in the tank in the second half. Then I think when it got out of hand, it almost heard some people saying the Jayhawks threw in the white towel. I don't know. They just looked gassed. I mean, they looked like the Harlem Globetrotters playing against the Washington Generals in the second half. They were doing whatever they wanted, and KU goes down, and he's saying, we didn't have enough depth this year, and kind of putting it on himself. And I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah,
and McCullers out. That's 18 points a game. That's a big thing. That's another guy off the bench maybe, but still, Bill Self never likes to go that deep, but you got to go more than 5 deep, right?
Yeah, and in basketball, with as many threes as they shoot, you could get hot one night and maybe beat a team that you shouldn't. So I thought they hit some threes early on and stayed in the game, but couldn't find the points in the second half.
They also didn't do themselves any favors with their first-round game, having to be so close, having to play some of their best players for so long against Samford. They were already worn out, then have that such a quick turnaround time, and playing a talented team like Gonzaga, the 5 seed, a similar season to KU where it came in with kind of higher hopes, but they're looking pretty good so far in the tournament, but big challenge with Purdue up next.
I know that coaches don't like playing man-to-man defense, or don't like playing zone defense, but man, try something, at least where you don't have to try to defend the pick and roll. Such an easy play in basketball, but KU figured it out, and then Gonzaga would make an adjustment. They couldn't stop it. Just go out there and get in the zone. At least give them something different. I don't know. Bill Self's a Hall of Fame coach.
But will he be back? Who knows with NIL?
He sounded kind of upbeat after the game yesterday, so I think he'll be back for, another year.
Yeah, what does the market go up from Kansas, though? Nowhere.
Well, the NBA.
I was just thinking into the sunset. He's not that young of a guy at this point. He's had some health concerns here of late. I didn't see Nick Saban walking away from Alabama when he did, so at this point I'm not putting anyone off the table.
No, I think you'll see some of those. John Calipari, sounds like, has he been fired yet?
No, not yet.
No, they were saying that it was probably going to happen today. If it was, they're going to have player meetings today and tomorrow, or tomorrow and Wednesday.
And does somebody pick him up? Yeah.
I didn't put this in, but this is, no, that's not the one I wanted. Okay, this is Seth Green.
Go through college basketball today. The teams that are winning, a lot of them are built in the portal. A lot of them are not relying on young players. A lot of them are relying on portal to build their programs, maintain their programs.
All the portal again. The old one-and-done days are gone. You know, you can get those one-and-doners, right? And the thing that was their kryptonite has always been teams that have been together for a while or upperclassmen, older players. We've seen that a lot in this tournament. More experienced players, whether they came, they transferred 3 times. So it's not really the one-and-doners now. It's the guys that have transferred a couple of times. Go out and collect your free agent time is coming up. Make sure you get them, man. The landscape's changed completely.
It is interesting because now a little more than before they had the transfer portal, if you do have a need on your team, you can kind of address it one for one without kind of having to rely, man, I'm going to have to bring in this 18-year-old. He can make threes at the high school level, but is that going to transfer to the college game? Now with the portal, you just go, well, this cat's shooting 40% from three-point land last year for Texas Tech. We'll go ahead and bring him into Lawrence.
But I also like the fact it's a lot harder to work because you're getting that unknown and you got to travel, but that's a hungry kid. These kids in the portal, so after the radio, after the KU loss, they were saying there were 800 in the portal, I believe, and we're going to see more as these teams dip out. Call those kids quitters. Do I want a kid who doesn't maybe want to be yelled at on the sideline, or why did he leave his other university? I don't know.
But if you got that hole, you get some money. Plug him in. Are you going to ride that horse to your demise saying, well, I'm just going to take guys that want to stick it out and don't mind getting coached?
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck.
Principles are fun, but
yeah, exactly. My job's on the line. Okay, and some NFL news. The Chiefs trading away cornerback L'Jarius Sneed. Jonathan Zaslow thinks it was the right move. Oh, boy, that's hard. He says, well, you got Chris Jones. That's the reason you make the move. Well, it's kind of weird. We talked about, why did they do this last year? Now there's going to be a little bit more treads on the tire for Chris Jones. But L'Jarius Sneed this is one. And Brett Veach I trust. So here we go. So he goes away. I didn't think they got a haul for him, although Joe Fortenbaugh doesn't like the fact that the Titans signed him coming off a career year. Is he going to be able to do that and even do better than that next year? Well, that's what you're paying for.
But I think that's part of what goes into signing a defensive lineman over a cornerback. Cornerback play, especially lately, has been so volatile in the NFL. Year to year, even a player who stands out 2 years ago, A.J. Terrell for the Falcons, had an incredible year. Coming off this last season, a little bit shaky. It's just so hard to know who's going to be able to play top-tier coverage in the league year after year. And so Sneed was very productive last year, but who's to say he can carry that forward? Defensive line play is traditionally a little more stable. The only concern I have is the age gap in the players we're talking about. Chris Jones, 30 years old. L'Jarius Sneed, this is just his second contract since coming into the league. He's a young player. Going to be a little bit of an age difference there, but I don't know. We'll have to see how Sneed plays in Tennessee to see if it was a bad move by Kansas City.
Wait, so we talking about a literal peak? Like the bell curve should be flat where you got like 3 good years? Do we now think of it as a peak where this guy had 1 good year? He's probably on his downhill now. I don't think so.
Well, he's got to cut down on the penalties. I mean, it was brought up a lot more later in the season. Well, they let you play a little bit more in the playoffs too, but yeah, he was most penalized corner in the league. So,
and part of what makes his penalties more tolerable is what he's able to do around those penalties. The play outside that is usually pretty high level, whether it's in coverage or defending the run on the outside there. If those dip a little bit, that does make those penalties become a little, hey, he's the most fouled or most penalized player in the league, and now his coverage is dipping a little bit, or that run support isn't what it was last year. Might not be as bearable.
Well, we'll see. Everybody gets the contract. What will they come back to? You still as hungry? Hopefully Brett Veach knows what he's talking about. All right, on the show today we have head coach Brent Biggs. We'll be talking about Barton's 4-game sweep of the Pratt Beavers over the weekend. We'll check in with Great Bend Tribune's Jim Azunas. He's down in Hutchinson today. Also a lot of news to talk about. Well, not any surprise. Jeremy Combs tabbed Coach of the Year in the Jayhawk Conference, and Cowley with 3 first-team selections. Barton just got 2. Barton's number 1. And they may be playing coming up again on Wednesday, so we'll just have to wait. Brent Biggs coming up next, talking Barton baseball here on the show.
Venture Corporation is a homegrown company with almost 50 years of experience in asphalt, paving, and construction, and they need equipment operators, mechanics, and CDL drivers. Venture offers many benefits, including 401k and Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance. Call Leslie for all the details. Work for a family-owned and family-oriented company that is here today and will be here in the future. Venture Corporation, South Highway 281, Great Bend, is an equal opportunity employer.
Extend the life of your equipment with the best warranty program and risk management tool in the agriculture industry. The Cenex Total Protection Plan covers new and used equipment. Receive up to 10 years or 10,000 hours of engine coverage when you use Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster premium diesel fuel and synthetic lubricants. With no deductible, the Cenex Total Protection Plan provides unmatched coverage to give you the power you need to keep your business running like a well-oiled machine.
Contact American Plains Co-op Fuel Department in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor, today.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Amy Herrera, Regional Retail Manager for your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time and I've helped many people navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people. I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you how we're committed to serving you in our communities. At Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Sports Day is presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department. Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Welcome back. Sports Day here, brought to you in part by Eller Automotive Repair, a local mechanic you can help behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source. Also, Equity Bank, no ATM fees nationwide. Learn more at equitybank.com and Advanced Therapy and Sports Medicine. Get your life back. Brent Biggs in with us today, dressed up like you normally would during baseball season. Nice coat you've got there, Coach. That looks good.
Yeah. Thank goodness for our heated indoor today.
Yeah, perfect.
Yep.
Well, you're kind of dodging this good. It's going to look like a pretty good week the rest of the time. So.
Absolutely. Now, 20 to 30 mile an hour wind at Liberal, not great, but we've been lucky.
That's okay. We'll get to Seward. So I'm trying to think. Okay, south it goes. Yeah, that's a launching pad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah. I was just okay. Yeah, left field. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so that's coming up this week. Tell me about the conditions on Saturday down in Pratt.
It was cold game 1, but the wind was blowing straight in all day. And it was a tough day to hit, and it was a tough day to play defense. And, as it was a completely different day from, day 1 of the series. So we didn't play very well, but we were able to overcome it and got a couple hits when we needed it.
5-3 and 2-1. I know you'd like to, stretch that out just a little bit, but also encouraging you won a couple close games.
Yep. And like I said, Pratt's record isn't great, but they have good players, and they were at home and they were, they were a little bit more motivated there on Saturday, and they played really well. And, we weren't great offensively, and we made some errors defensively, but anytime you can find a way to win when you don't play well, I think that's kind of the recipe of having a good team.
And learning how to win. Your team's starting to learn that a little bit. You've won 11 in a row. Talk about your play during this stretch.
We played really well, and the biggest thing for us is I think that we've had a little bit of adversity, and we haven't played well in stretches. Game 2, we were up 7 runs, and we end up, I think we gave up 7, and then we gave up 2 in the next, and we were down 12-10. Whereas a month ago, I think we just kind of folded the tent, and we kept battling and kept playing, and we've overcome adversity, 3 or 4 times over this winning streak, and that's probably the best thing to see.
Yeah, you got that 12-11 win. That was in the first 2 games that were played in Great Bend last week, so you continue it out. Cloud County, they split their doubleheader on Saturday, so it's interesting race right up the top. Cloud County 10-2, you're 9-2. Hutch 9-3. There's Butler 7-3. Dodge 6-2. So just the normal loss.
Just kind of what's expected. So.
Okay, we talk about it because it's windy. Okay, well, how's that affect the hitting? How do you have to pitch when it's windy like that?
You just have to be tough, and understand that there's going to be errors and there's going to be home runs, and you're okay if you give up some solo home runs or 2-run home runs, but when it gets squirrely is, you walk the guy, you make an error, you get mad, you get upset, and you don't focus on the next pitch, and you throw one down the middle, and now it's a 3-run home run where it could have been a solo home run. And I just think that when the wind's blowing out, you got to minimize free bases, and you have to be tough. And the ERA can't matter, and the only thing that can matter is finding a way to get off the field each inning. And, you've got to have that mentality when the wind's blowing out, because you can make a great pitch, and some of them are going to go out of the yard.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you know things are going to happen like that, but just throwing strikes, especially you're a big, heftier guy. I don't know. Maybe you get a smaller guy. You can get.
Oh, yeah.
Balance is important, I would think.
Hey, us little guys, I mean, I wasn't a very good player, but I'll tell you this, when the wind was blowing out, I'd get one up in the air. So, but yeah, just throwing strikes, and you can't give teams free runs and walks and free bases. And I just think that that's the difference in a lot of the games. We played the midweek at Cali on Tuesday, and, we were down 6-0, and they walked us 15 times. And we're pretty good at taking advantage of what people give us. And, if you're going to walk us and you're going to make errors, then we're going to make you pay more times than not. So,
you ever seen a Butler team walk 15 guys? I mean, or a Cali team.
Yeah, it was the atmosphere was interesting. I will say.
I was going to say. So back to so if you're a pitch, say right-hander, you're pitching a Pratt, right? You got a nice little breaking ball, but the wind's blowing in from right field. How does that affect that?
Doesn't affect the breaking ball too much.
Really?
Okay. And it's one of those things where, if I'm pitching to what the conditions say. If the wind's blowing in, I'm going to attack the middle of the zone, and you're going to have to beat me. And if you want to try and pound the ball in the air, that's fine, because we have really athletic outfielders and we're going to go get it. But I just think that, when the wind's blowing out, you have to move the ball around, and you do have to try and strike some guys out. But when it's blowing in, like it was at Pratt, just attack the middle of the zone. And, one of our guys that has really, really struggled this year, Kyler Horseman out of the bullpen, it seems like he hasn't really been able to get anybody out, but he's got good stuff. And he threw the last three innings against Pratt in that 2-1 game, and he was electric. And it was basically, I think he threw 20 pitches, and I think he threw 19 fastballs, and it was, here it is, good luck, and see if you can do anything with it.
Isn't that amazing? Sometimes the guys go back and, hey, hit this.
Yep.
Oh, they're having trouble hitting that.
Yep, and you just keep going to it, and it keeps working, and here it is again, and we had a lot of success with it on Saturday.
How encouraging is that when you see a player like that that's been scuffling, be able to come back and find something like that?
Oh, yeah, because he's a freshman, and he's a talented freshman. He was slowed a little by injury, and we have a lot of guys like that are very, very talented, but they are still kind of feeling their way out in this college baseball thing, and it seems like one guy a weekend, a little more confidence, a little more confidence, a little more confidence, and that's what we definitely need.
Okay, we're going to go back to those stats before, and especially guys that get off to slow starts. You're just looking up and man, I'm only hitting 175,
Yep.
but look at that though. You went out and you went 3 for 8 in that doubleheader.
Yep, it can consume you, that's for sure. And on the pitching side of things, you can break it down and okay, first pitch strikes and lead off outs, and you can break it down and it can kind of reset. And offensively, you could be the most unselfish player in the world, but if you're hitting 200, you're hitting 200, and each at bat gets magnified and magnified and magnified, and you're trying to make up for lost time, and that's a recipe for failure for sure. But are you getting on base? Are you having good at bats? Are you swinging at good pitches? Let's kind of start there. And we've told a couple of our guys, hey, listen, your numbers are done. Like, they're not going to be good at the end of the year. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So we can either reset and focus on these things, or you can let these numbers consume you, which they're not getting any better. So that's just kind of the mentality that you go into it. Now, it doesn't always work because it's really, really hard to do, but they all know their stats are online. But if you can focus on the little things, usually you'll have some success.
What kind of metrics do you use? Because, the average is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But, we've got BABIP, hard hit balls, luck. We got all this stuff thrown in there. To digest what that average is.
We try. I don't know if this is right or wrong. We keep it as simple as possible. Or offensively, are you getting on base? Okay, let's start there. What's your strikeout to walk ratio? you know, and then we'll expand from there. Okay, what are we doing in hitters counts? You know, and we try and keep it as simple as possible. And you can make it as hard as possible, and this guy and this count, and here's the shift. And let's keep it as simple. If it's in the zone, try and hit it hard. You know, if you're a pitcher, let's command one pitch, and once we do, let's command a second and see if we're good enough. And for the most part, it's been pretty good.
Yeah, so just, you know, how the stats roll in baseball. There was a pitcher for the Wichita Wranglers, and they were down in Arkansas. There was an error made, and they ended up giving the guy a hit. And then I think Arkansas ended up getting like 8 runs, and his ERA ballooned way up. And it's, you know, I get on the bus, and he's like, man, you need to go talk to that official scorer. You need to have him change that right now. Well, you know, hey, dude, I'm the radio guy. I felt bad for him, man. His ERA, you're trying to survive at AA, man. Your ERA goes to 2 to 12.
Right. And it can happen in a hurry.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's just, at our level, it's, yeah, guys worry about stat, but we try and make it, hey, it's not about that, you know, and, well, I got to have stats to move on and go to the next level in these Division I's, and it doesn't matter. You know, I mean, they know what good players are, and they'll find you, and, you know, we have your back. And it's just, the more you become consumed with it, like you said, you know, that ERA goes up way faster than it comes down, and it can consume you, and it's not good for anyone.
See, they call you Dr. Big, you know.
That's my Twitter handle. That's my Twitter handle. Doctor of Knowledge.
I thought psychiatry, you know. We're taking these kids through this. Okay, here we go. You got Thursday. Saturday, you go to Liberal on Thursday to take on Seward. They're 4-4, 16-15. Here we go.
Yep, and it's kind of similar with some of the other guys. They go down to Texas early, you know, and kind of got beat up early, and now they're starting to play really well. And you know, they brought back probably the most of anybody in terms of, you know, impact players. And their number one is good. He's left-hander. He's going to Texas Tech. You know, fastball's been up to 95. Their third baseman, I think he's got 10 doubles and 10 homers, and then they have the freshman of the year that plays shortstop and a little bit of outfield. So they're talented, you know, and the wind's going to be blowing out, and they just play a different style. You know, they don't steal bases, they don't bunt a ton. You know, they're built for their park, and I don't know if that's a good thing, but it'll be a good challenge because it's the longest road trip of the year, and see how we kind of handle it. We've won some games on the road recently. We haven't played overly great. But if we're going to go out there and be successful, we're going to have to play a little bit better.
Yeah, kind of like what they were last year. I mean, they 3-run homer.
Yep. And hopefully we can hit a couple of them. Like I told them at Colby, you know, we gave up six home runs in that first game out there, and we didn't hit any, you know, and found a way to win. And you can't do that very often.
No.
We're going to have to hit a couple, but it'll be interesting.
Didn't Todd Moore pull that stat up for you? Brent, here's your record with giving up 6 home runs, and you didn't hit any.
Yeah. 1-0.
Yeah. 1-0. Okay. You look at Seward. What's the makeup of their roster? Because, of course, they're down in the corner of the state, probably like when you go to Casey, you know, where do they get guys from?
They've had a really good group of guys from Texas. They have a good group of guys from Colorado. It's, you know, over the years, and very few Kansas guys. I'm trying to think. I haven't put the roster in yet, but 1 or 2 Kansas guys maybe, you know, and it's just one of those things where they get some of those Texas guys that have played a bunch of baseball and are experienced, and they've done really well, you know, and they had a little bit of a lull there, but they're starting to get that thing rolling down there, and they're playing really well and getting some really good players.
Okay. How you feeling about your team right now heading into this 4-gamer?
Feeling good. You know, we've like I said, we've dealt with some adversity. We've had some guys step up. It's been somebody different, I feel like, every game. We have to continue to be consistent, you know. And like I told them, we've kind of rode this roller coaster early on where we would get really high and really low. And, you know, the last 2 weeks it's been pretty consistent where I think that's kind of our happy place or our niche where we can stay in the middle, be consistent, throw strikes, make routine plays, and we'll hit just enough and be successful.
Okay, here in Central Kansas, of course, high school baseball is your lifeblood. Any thoughts on? It always seemed weird. You play, you know, 20 games, 10 dates. It's not a whole bunch more. What do you think about increasing the number of games played?
I like it. You know, that now they can get some tournaments, and there's some really, really good tournaments going on. And you know, Great Bend's in a really good tournament up in Kansas City or DeSoto area, and it gets, sometimes Western Kansas, those guys get overlooked, and now it's going to get some exposure for some of these guys out here because they can get on the big stage. And I just think the more you play, usually the better you're going to get. Obviously, it needs to warm up for those guys, but you can already see it. I mean, there's some, like we had a kid from Kansas City who's at Olathe West. They were in Valley Center this weekend, and you can kind of start to see teams traveling and mixing it up. So it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it's going to be neat for these tournaments because before you'd go in there and you'd take 3 games right out of your schedule there and you play. Yeah, so I like it. It's going to be really, really good.
Yep.
Hey, Brent, appreciate you coming in. Enjoy the trip to Liberal, and we'll see you back at home on Saturday.
Thanks.
Okay, Brent Biggs, head coach of the Barton Cougars, here with us on Sports Day. Show brought to you in part by the Cougar Booster Club, continuing our efforts to make the Barton Athletic Department the best in the country. Also by Equity Bank, right here beside you, equitybank.com. It's Sports Day on KVGB.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
I had a young gal come in the other day who has been having chronic back pain. Did a session just helping her to understand her pain, not understanding her back, but teaching her how her nervous system works. And just that knowledge just calmed her down so much. She came back in this morning, huge smile on her face, and she was so excited to learn more. It was a blast.
Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
Introducing Ag Mechanics at Barton Community College in partnership with Case New Holland Top Tech. Hands-on training in areas like electrical, hydraulics, and diesel engines, with technicians gaining the knowledge and skills needed to start a career with CNH Level 1 training. Join this high-demand field at a CNH dealership in only 9 months. Now enrolling for the fall semester. Learn more at toptech.bartoncccc.edu.
Marmy Auto Group makes it happen. Central and Western Kansas. Check out our selection of new and pre-owned inventory. Marmy's friendly staff offers top quality service that you've gotten to know over the years. When your existing vehicle needs parts or service, our experienced team will get you back in the game this season. Marmy Chevrolet, GMC, Ford and Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep Ram, parts, service, and body shop. Visit Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street or marmys.net. Marmys, make it happen.
Are you unhappy with your current wireless provider? Well, what are you waiting for? Make the switch to Nextech Wireless. Not only will you get great service and the latest devices, but when you bring your number to us, you pay nothing down. That's right. The taxes and activation fee are on us.
Certain restrictions apply.
Nextech Wireless. Home on the range.
He's covered more big games than anyone else in the Golden Belt. He might be on your sideline, in your gym, or just about anywhere there's a game. Sports Day presents the Great Bend Tribune's Jim Mazunas.
Jim Mazunas in with us here on the program today. Jim joining us from, Central Kansas area on his way to the Hutch Sports Arena. Jim, it's great to have you along here. So, en route to see the Cougars play.
Yeah, it should be a pretty exciting day. Hutchinson was down 10 points, and now they're up 5 against Stockahatchee. And then Barton plays, and then Collie plays. So if you're a Kansas junior college basketball fan, it doesn't get any better than that. 3 games.
Okay, so Hutch is in action right now. And let's see, 36-31, 4:05 to go in the first half. That's one I've got. Moberly loses today to Connors State out of Oklahoma in the early game this morning, 86-77. And then, coming up, 2:30 today, Walters State against Barton. You can't figure out who's gonna win. I kind of got the impression everybody thought Daytona would win, but it was Walters State coming back with the victory, and Barton has that first round bye. This is kind of nice. Walters State played yesterday, so they're right back at it here today. How do you see this one, Jim?
Yeah, it's always interesting when you see these teams come in because, these teams average 97 a game. The advantage Barton has, number one, they played 5 games at the Sports Arena, which is a huge advantage. And then the teams come in, they can play fast or slow. Barton can do both. They're very effective playing fast or slow. And that's a huge advantage tactically because it doesn't matter who you're playing, you can adjust to that style and take advantage of a fast-paced game, or when it gets slowed down, Barton can take advantage of that style of game too. So they're well equipped to handle it. I think they've got a great shot of certainly getting to the semifinals, and then you never know. Until you see these teams play, you don't know how good Vincennes is or any of those because you haven't seen them play. But I think they've got a great shot of getting the first two. But we'll see how Collie matches up with Northwest Florida. The junior college, two of the junior college experts who do some predictions, one of them had Collie winning it all. Neither of them had Barton winning to the semifinals, so we'll see about that. I mean, I'm fairly confident that Barton does what they've been doing all year long. They should certainly have a great shot of winning the first two, and then, hey, semifinals, anything goes.
Is kind of nice, and I don't know if is that the way it's normally. I mean, the number one seed, because okay, they'll play today against the team that's already played, and then Barton gets another day off tomorrow, and then you start the quarterfinals. Then you get the 3 days in a row, hopefully. But that kind of works out nice, and that's the way the number one seed, I guess, overall tournament seed should be treated.
Yeah, I think it's a huge advantage because you get to see the team you're playing, you get a full scouting report, you get the early game, an early game the next day, and then you get a day off, and then you get the noon game. So it's a great advantage for Barton, no question about it.
How is it?
See all the teams that they're playing and have some good rest in between.
How's the attendance been over the years here at the national tournament, Jim? Staying steady?
Well, it's varied over the years. Once upon a time when there wasn't wall-to-wall NCAA men's and women's basketball coverage, it was excellent. And then now as things go, heck, you can watch, and I was watching Hutchinson play right now. You can watch the games on video if you're so equipped. So that takes away from the live crowd, but it's support of the tournament in whatever shape it is good for the tournament. So it's not what it used to be, but again, with all the Kansas teams in it, it'll be as good as it's been for quite some time, especially if Barton and Hutchinson continue to progress in the bracket.
You look at the history and tradition of Barton basketball. That's one of the things that they just don't have, that national championship. What do you think that would mean for Barton to win it all, Jim?
Well, they've certainly been in position to win it before. Dan McGovern had a team that was right on the precipice of winning it. And in fact, here's an interesting story about Alex Radunovich. He was a very good patron for Roy's Barbecue in Hutchinson. Guess whose picture's still on the wall? Radunovich. His picture's still on the wall at Roy's Barbecue. And that was many years ago. But, so it's a lot of fun for Barton to come down and compete at Hutchinson. And like I said, this year, more than any other year they've ever played, they have as much of an advantage as any team would ever have other than Hutchinson.
Yeah, and hopefully there's a big crowd down there today for that 2:30 tip. Cole Reif will have the pre on B1043 The Point starting at 2:15 today. Okay, some other sports taking place over the weekend. K-State women go down. KU's women, well, they'll play tonight to see if they can get to the next round. But, boy, K-State women over the years just cannot get past that second round game to advance on to the Sweet 16. It's been a long time since they've been able to do that, and they fall yesterday at home, which they've done before as well. But tough loss for Jeff Mitty and the Wildcats of Kansas State yesterday.
Yeah, it's one of those games where they just played poorly. 22 turnovers is way too many turnovers for a team that's played 35 games this year. It's just absolutely dreadful. They worked the ball in way too much to Ioka Lee. It's just like Iowa State played. How many times do you have to work the ball into a post player who's shooting 3 for 21? On K-State's part, how many times do you have to turn the ball over before you realize, kick it in, kick it out, shoot some three-pointers? I mean, and the advantage that Iowa State had in their case is Emily Ryan was 6 for 9 on threes. Well, I'd much rather have a player shooting 67% on threes than a girl shooting 10% on two-pointers. So a lot of it was strategy, a lot of it was execution, but I saw what K-State did is they got in a certain situation and they tightened up. And you just can't do that. You just got to keep playing and try and stay loose, and that's easier said than done for sure. But in like Iowa State's case, man, they played to win. They played just amazing game. I mean, Emily Ryan was almost a triple-double, not in a good way. 36 points, 9 rebounds, 10 turnovers. But Ryan literally had the ball from the start of the game to the end of the game. and performed. That's the best game as far as execution of the offense that I've ever seen. She should have had like 12 assists, but when your post player is shooting 3 for 21, you just lost 8 or 9 assists. But absolutely the best game I've seen Emily Ryan play perhaps in her career, because a lot of times this year she's had a tendency to just defer to her teammates. Well, Emily said, hey, I can shoot the ball, and that's how she should play coming back for her 5th year next year. That's how she should play next year all the time, is be an offensive threat. But, yeah, it's too bad for K-State, though, because it's the best team I've seen there up in 20 years. And, unfortunately, they played one of their worst games of the season and their biggest game of the year, unfortunately.
Okay, Great Bend baseball and softball this weekend against Pratt. They take care of business at home, Jim.
Oh, yeah. It's I don't know that I've heard or seen. Let's see, what kind of weather are we going to have? We're going to have some thunder. We're going to have some lightning. We're going to have some snow. Well, that pretty much covers it. That's spring in Kansas. But, yeah, tremendous effort by both teams. I mean, Pratt's got a very good baseball and softball program, and so tremendous sweep, especially for the girls softball. They have a freshman pitcher, Shayla Prendergast, who came in, won both games, amazingly enough. And Great Bend girls came back and won the first game after being down 3-0. And then, of course, with the pitcher for Great Bend, you never worry too much when their top pitcher's throwing. And a 1-0 victory for Carson Humphreys. And then the second game, they took care of business with the bats, 10 runs. So, yeah, Great Bend softball, baseball, they're going to have tremendous seasons. And certainly on the baseball side, they certainly can contend with Hayes for the league title. And we'll see whether Great Bend's pitching is good enough to challenge Hayes and Garden City on the girls' side. But, yeah, it's a great start to get the season off to start like that.
Okay, Jim. Hey, enjoy the tournament. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, hopefully we got some good things to talk about. Maybe you have some kind of a trophy up there or some kind of a memento.
Yeah, we'll have to have the boys in, yeah. Oh, we may do, yeah. Hopefully that's the case.
Good luck, Steve.
Okay, thanks. Jim Azunas with us here on Sports Day. Halftime, Hutchinson leading USC Sakahachi 48-43. Barton coming up at 2:30. More Sports Day coming up after this.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB Great Bend and 95.5 FM K238CK Hoisington.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Zach Strite, commercial lender for Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people. I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. At Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Wright, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
Barton Community College enrollment days are back. Registration is now available for all sessions through July 24th. Make the enrollment process fun, fast, and simple. Reserve your spot to get everything set up for the fall semester in just one day. Visit with an academic and financial advisor, enroll in classes, take a tour of campus, and more. Visit enroll.bartoncccc.edu to sign up.
He's the voice of Hoisington High School football, the Barton County Cougars, and the king of the tweeter machine. It's Cole Reif on Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Tried hooking up to the Cole Meister, but down there getting hooked up, probably Josh Gooch is putting him through the ringer right now. Yeah, so anyway, Cole will have that broadcast coming up on B1043 this afternoon, about 2:15 for the pregame as they end up taking on Walters State. If they would win that contest, they would get tomorrow off, and then they would come back and play on Wednesday. So Barton basketball, here we go. Let's see if they can get it done. Never have won a national championship, but this would be a good year to get it started. Okay, Jeremy Combs, Coach of the Year in the Jayhawk Conference. No real surprise there. Why not? Gosh, 32-1. I think that's puts you there. Johnny Summers from Coffeyville was a Freshman of the Year. Brody Robinson from Garden City, Newcomer of the Year. Cooper Jackson from Barton was the Defensive Player of the Year. Cooper did not make first team all-conference. He was named to the second team. First team performers, Leger Jones, he was a first team selection, and Miles Thompson, the redshirt sophomore, was also named to the team. Barton with 2 on the first team. Cali had 3 players on that first team. We may get a chance those 2 teams play, as Cali taking on Northwest Florida later on tonight after the Barton game is over with, in fact. Cougars had 2 second-teamers, Mose Downing Rivers and Cooper Jackson, a couple of sophomores, and then honorable mention, Keandre Kendall and Brent Moss. Freshman named honorable mention, also Ring Maleef named to the honorable mention team. Jayhawk All-Conference Women, John Onchus, the Coach of the Year. Probably good, undefeated season. I don't argue with that too much, probably. Let's see. From Barton, the Player of the Year and Freshman of the Year, Kiki Smith from Hutchinson won them both, and then Newcomer of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year, Paris Atkins, and Paris Atkins from Dodge City. So Barton with 1, Vera Onawaha, is that close? Onwa, yeah. She ends up being named to the first team. That was the only player. And then Bertoni named second team. Vivian also named to the second team, and honorable mention Tatum Betcher. So there you go as far as Barton postseason awards of the Jayhawk Conference. Softball yesterday. Barton Lady Cougars, this was on Saturday, I should say. Barton got 7 runs in the first 2 innings against Hutchinson in the first game of their doubleheader, but, well, that was about it after that. The Blue Dragons ended up scoring 28 unanswered runs in sweeping the doubleheader, 15-7 and 15-zip. So Barton now 11-5 on the season, 14-10 overall. Hutch sits top the standings at 14-2, 25-7. The Cougars will be in action on Wednesday as they'll start the second half of the league slate. They'll welcome in Dodge City for a 1 p.m. pitch at Cougar Field. Should be a little bit more reasonable.
I believe I've got some word from the Cold Meister that he might be ready for an interview now. Might be ready to give us a little bit of word on the Barton.
Okay, that's pretty cool too. Okay, we'll go ahead and do that. Why don't we take a break? We'll get hooked up with Cole. We'll join him live at the Sports Arena coming up here on Sports Day on KVGB.
When it comes to car maintenance, it's good to know a local guy that can get things done. The Eller family has been in the auto repair business in Great Bend forever. Greg Eller continues that long tradition of helping people. Eller Automotive Repair specializes in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 Fridays. Eller Automotive Repair at 915 Morton, right behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, 10th and Morton.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/FREE. ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
It's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
All right, Cole Reif joining us from the Sports Arena in Hutchinson, where around 2:30 today, the Barton Cougars will be taking on Walters State. got everything secure. You got everything set up, duct tape, anything like that. Of course, you probably use fancy tape more than duct tape. But anyway, Cole Reif is with us. You ready to go, man?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you can tell the crowd picked up. I only had to park like a half mile away from the sports arena this time. And then, see, what's backwards about things is they give you your parking pass after you show up, but you can't get your parking pass until you enter the facility. It's not like they ship them out early. So hopefully Barton wins, and I can take advantage of the parking pass on a future day.
Did you walk into the wind or with the wind?
Walked into the wind on the way in, so hopefully on the way out will be good.
Yeah, we'll probably switch around by then. So, anyway, did you have any chance to really watch any of that Hutch game in the first half? They're, I think, up by 5 here at the break.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, USC, I thought Hutch would just roll throughout the entire game, but they got off to a really slow start. And give credit to USC. They got kind of some long, lengthy foreign players that kind of played an unorthodox style. So they came out and jumped out to, I think they were up by 10 or 11, Webby. And then Hutch finally got going. You could tell they were just flat. And then once they got going, the crowd got behind them. They built up that lead a little bit. So they got an under 10 lead, but I expect Hutch to kind of continue. They finally found that momentum. So I think they'll roll in the second half.
Again, we bring in teams from all over the country. You don't really know what to expect. You know, reputations of leagues, things like that. So any surprises or anything catch your eye from all the action from yesterday?
You know, I mean, not the team itself, at least on paper. I mean, Walters State getting the win against Daytona State. I mean, that was Daytona obviously comes from the glorified Florida Conference. Walters State, I mean, their entire schedule was questionable going in. And so you really kind of question just how good was that strength of schedule. So, but then once you watch that game, because, I mean, it was the early game. There wasn't a whole lot of big crowd by any means yesterday morning in that contest. But once you watch that immediately, you found out, okay, Daytona and Walters State are both pretty good. And it didn't take long to figure that out and that they can play. And just kind of so happened that Walters State, you know, their schedule was what it was, but they're still a really good team with a weaker schedule. So they looked apart. They got a really speedy point guard that really hard to keep in front of. They got, you know, Raimondo Battle. He put up 26 points, probably had one of the bigger highlights of the entire tournament so far through the first day. So they got the pieces. They're legit. It should be a good game. I just can't. I don't know. I can't foresee a scenario where there's like a blowout one way or the other. I expect kind of a rock fight early on.
Okay, and then it's 3 straight games. This is Kansas Junior College basketball day because you've got Hutch playing right now. Then it'll be Barton and Walters State, and then Northwest Florida State against Cali after the Cougars get done today. So what I guess challenges does Walters State present that maybe Daytona State would have?
I think they defend better.
Okay.
I mean, because usually when you score 96 points per game, you're like, okay, well, they got to give up 80 plus.
Yeah.
But then you look at Walters State stats, and they're one of the top 40 teams, like in a lot of defensive stats. They only give up 70 a game. So, like that to me, when you're putting up 96 and you can defend at 70 a game, is huge. The one thing that you see from them is they foul a lot. I mean, they average 22 fouls per game. I think that's the one area. If Barton can hit free throws, I mean, they can't have one of those where they, you know, played Butler and went 21 to 37 at the foul line. They're going to get to the free throw line a lot, I would imagine, this afternoon. So if they can hit free throws, that'd be the one advantage the Cougars have because Walters State is near the bottom in the entire country in fouls per game. But they do a lot of things right, obviously putting up 96 a game, holding opponents to 70. They shoot the three ball well at 39%. You know, they got 3 or 4 guys that are either 13, 14, 15 points per game. So, yeah, it's the real deal.
Where are they located? What league do they play in?
Morristown, Tennessee. So they play in the Tennessee Conference to be Region 7. So that's a region all by itself. They don't have to combine those two. So Region 7 gets an automatic berth.
Okay. So Walters State, are they a long team?
Yeah, they got some good size. I mean, Raimondo Battle, he's about 6'8". He'll pull up. You can be in his face, and he'll just shoot over the top of you. So, I mean, that's one thing where he went 3 for 9, I believe, yesterday in the first round win against Daytona. But at 6'8", like, he'll just pull up, and he might be right in his face, and he'll just pull up for a 3. So hopefully the law of averages start to catch up to, you know, Walters State on that three-point shooting. But if he gets going, like, he gets tough. And then they got a couple of big guys down low, but they don't really use their guys as much as, like, Barton with Leger and Miles Thompson. If they can get 6 or 7 points 5 or 6 rebounds from their big guys. That's pretty good. It's definitely a guard-heavy team with some guys that just kind of play some roles down low.
You've only lost one game this year, so been pretty good record-wise for your career, Mark Cole. So,
I mean, you've been fortunate. I mean, you talk about just the Golden Belt in general. Covering Hoisington High School football, haven't seen too many losses during that stretch. And then obviously Barton, they haven't necessarily had a team like this by any means year after year, but, they've consistently been the second-place team in the Jayhawks. So, yeah, you talk about being blessed in this area. It's had some good basketball and good football as well.
How do you feel about the matchup?
I feel okay. I think Barton will settle in. I don't think there's going to be too many nerves. Now, there is that, obviously they played here 5 times, so that's out the window, but not on a national tournament stage. So, it's going to be a good crowd. Obviously, Hutchinson fans are probably going to stick around for a little bit for that Barton game. So, the crowd's going to be good. Hopefully, they just don't come out flat. I mean, that's the biggest thing. We haven't seen it all season long, so hopefully that continues this afternoon. But, I like it. I think, if Leger and Miles can get going and then start to get Walter State into foul trouble, which are very prone to foul, like we mentioned, if Ring can hit just a couple shots to stretch down and prevent them from packing it down low, that's going to be big. But, I like the matchup. Like I said, I just don't see it one way or the other getting out of control, either for Barton or for Walter State.
Okay, Cole, before I let you go, that it kind of shows the type of team Barton had this year because postseason awards come out, right? And you're the conference champ, and, you only lose one game, and you have 2 guys on the first team, and then the team that finishes behind you, Cali, gets 3. Kind of, again, shows you balance across the board. You got plenty. You got 2 on second team and 3 on honorable mention. So that means you got a lot of players that are pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. Jeff Nwankwu is really good, and I think a lot of people foresaw that, he might get player of the year. But, I thought Leger Jones put himself in a position to maybe get the player of the year, especially being the top team and, splitting with Cali. Obviously Nwankwu averaging maybe 2 or 3 points more than Leger per game, but Leger's the better rebounder. Percentages, Jeff shot pretty well throughout the season, but, I thought Leger may be a better two-way player. But, like I said, no problems with Jeff getting player of the year. But I know that was one of the goals for Leger. So, maybe he has a chip on his shoulder for potential rematch. If both those 2 teams can win their Sweet 16 game, they would meet up in the Elite 8. I thought it was awesome. Cooper Jackson getting defensive player 2 times. I don't think very many players have ever done that in the Jayhawk Conference with both their seasons getting defensive player of the year. Only other gripe would probably be Ring Malif. I thought he got honorable mention, but I thought he could have made a pretty strong case for second team. But still, when it's all said and done, getting that many players on the all-tournament team was still pretty good.
Cole, have a great call. Have fun. We're going to have fun listening to you today. Go get a win, and you can come back here. We'll talk about it on Sports Day tomorrow. You get a day off again.
Sounds good. I'll tell our boss that. I'm not working tomorrow if we win.
You shouldn't. Okay, but you can still come in for Sports Day. Okay. Hey, thanks, Cole.
We'll see you.
All right, Cole Reif, voice of the Barton Cougars at the Sports Arena. You can tell he's ready to go, right? You got a little extra giddy up there.
You can hear some excitement in his voice.
Yeah, should be. All right, coming up, 2:30, and that's after the Hutch game. Hutchinson up by 5 at halftime. Sports Day brought to you every day by Nextech Wireless. Experience wireless built by Kansans for Kansas, and by the Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street in Great Bend, and by Venture Corporation, reminding you to help a neighbor shop local when you can. Okay, tomorrow's show, I know it doesn't feel like it, but it's going to start feeling like baseball season. Roger Ward, General Manager of Great Bend Batcats, is going to be on the show with us. I think we're going to do it by phone. He's out traveling tomorrow. We'll talk to Cole again. He'll be back in studio tomorrow. And also, on the prowl, Mike Horson returns. Talk to you on Tuesday.